taurai zvinetsika kuruzhinji rwevanhu kuti vanzwisisise zvakananga musangano. So the settlers called for help, and they said, come and help us with this war, and each volunteer will get a piece of land as reward or compensation of salary. And so it was that for each volunteer who came to fight was promised and given about roughly 600 acres of land, you see. And the people were there, and they say, okay, we are now going to devise a system of the Land Apportionment Act. We are going to take these people to the uninhabited place, unwanted places, and, poor agricultural places called the communal lands or the reserves, or now the tribal trust land, and so on. So the people were bundled up, those who refused to work. And in there, they were told that you should provide labor for the railway, for the mining, for all the activities that was now in place: agriculture, mining, and transportation by way of the railways. And people did not want to work. So again, it was a communal fines. The chief was supposed to provide so many people. If he doesn't, he will pay in cattle. And so it was again another episode of fighting for justice, for a return to the past, which was no longer possible. And it is this idea of return to the past that is in itself a contradiction. Because we cannot go back to the past. We have to move with the current of events and see the future and work through the happenstances of the now, shall we say. And so it is that we have said the original fight was for the land and for the rights, and now the things have changed. What is it we are fighting for? We have said that we had a kingdom. We have said that we were invaded by some settlers. We have said that there were problems, and we were defeated in military terms, and the land was demarcated, and we are now in a situation whereby the land is in two layers. There's the commercial people who didn't buy the land, who have about 70% of the land, and the people who are supposed to be the indigenous owners of the land occupying another 20 or thereabout percent, where the other pieces of land cannot be used for agriculture or even peasant farming. So we see a situation whereby as time goes on, the Zimbabwean people are now a defeated entity. They are the oppressed people. They are now being told what to do, where to live, and what else to do. So they move into the communal areas because that was allocated to them. From there, they've got to work on their farms. From there, they've got to work in the towns, building the buildings and all the work that happens in town, particularly the construction of the railway from Johannesburg right into Mutare, as it were, and on to Zambia and beyond. That was the Rhodes Stream. But anyway, we are saying now the first people struggled and lost, and now the educated people, we say some were educated with the missionaries, some were educated with the state schools, and we slowly began to have some educated people. And the educated people, fortunately or unfortunately, were the preferred people. They lived with the people, they were domestic workers, they were good people, they were Christians, they were nice people. But in living together, they began to see that it is not all is well. They were now educated, they understood what the world is all about, what's happening out there. They could read and write. And so it was that the first nationalists, in my observation, were those people who were favored to live and to share and to be educated by either the missionaries or the government of the day. It was a good thing because we then had builders, we had teachers, we had nurses, and we had people who worked in the industries and in the mines and in agriculture, but not as trained personnel. Slowly, it was like just train him enough to do what we want to do. So the first people who became politicians and nationalists were those who were close to the colonial arrangements of the day. What it was sometimes, you'd go into the minister's church, maybe to pray. The minister is so kind because you are the preferred person. You drink tea with the people, and at the end of the day, you depart. But if you were to delay it a little bit, you would see that the cups were going to be destroyed and the chairs were fumigated to make sure that there is no contamination. So that, to those people, was a sign that these people are not what they say or what they do. So that was now became the voice of the second Chimurenga, shall we call it. The second Chimurenga comes in with, unfortunately, it comes in with the idea of let's take the land. But the land has been demarcated. The farmers were, the rich land was identified and used. The arable land was used for agriculture. Rather the grazing land was used for cattle, and it was all laid out. But the original idea was let's take the land. But it was now a little bit, the land had become a commercial, if not an economic entity.